Right. So today we were covering the data cloud packaging strategy. Uh, this is a new topic. I know we probably haven't discussed this a lot in the community and in the ecosystem because this is quite new, like quite recent. That starting February, towards starting I think mid of February. This is something that went live. We do have we did have our packaging strategy, like a pricing and packaging of data cloud, or CDP for that matter, earlier. But then um, the overall packaging, the way, and when I say packaging, this is not that packaging where you are, promoting objects from a lower environment to higher environment. It's not that packaging. It's the packaging of how data cloud is being packaged while it is being sold to customers, and the way it is packaged with a marketing cloud or a Tableau, or going to be packaged with the platform going forward, from a SKU perspective when customers are buying this for their implementation. So this is around that. And let's quickly move forward. Right. So obviously, I want to first give a quick reminder that Salesforce is a publicly traded company, and customers should base their purchasing decisions on products and services that are currently available. Now, moving on, a quick intro about myself. Obviously, I did a session yesterday, but very quickly about me again. I'm a marketing cloud, data cloud, and loyalty expert in APAC, working with the product success team as senior product success architect, and I'm a data cloud SME in the region as well. Now, I know I covered this as very similar slide yesterday during my session on the best practices, but again, I just wanted to set the context a bit before before I talk about the packaging, which obviously covers aspects around the segmentation, activation, ingestion, data, harmonization, profile unification, APIs, and all that. Just to ensure that if there is an audience here who are only getting started on data cloud, I just wanted to ensure I quickly touch upon this so that they have some context on what we are talking about. So data cloud, it provides a hyperscale data store, so you can act on all of your data at near infinite scale and near real time. It's natively integrated with the Salesforce Customer 360, and that means that it works across every single cloud: Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, Engagement, so Commerce Cloud, etc. And obviously with the entire customer, across your entire business, basically for your customers. You can think of data cloud in around 5 different stages. Um, Starting with the connect, where data cloud starts by connecting all the customer data with built-in connectors to bring data from any source. Powered by MuleSoft, companies can connect data across their entire enterprise, including legacy apps and solutions as well. Then moving on to harmonize. Once the data is connected, data cloud harmonizes all of this data, data streams, to create a real-time customer graph for every individual at scale. And that includes all interactions with the customer business and evolves as the data does. Privacy, consent, and compliance are all natively built in. And then it moves to the unification, or I would say with unification, there is also a train phase, right? The data cloud harnesses the help of Einstein AI to train the generative AI models on customer data. So what happens is that once you create the unified individuals, or based on the data models, you create your unified profiles. There is a framework that we have built with Einstein specifically for Customer 360. So customers can surface generative AI across every cloud, and of course with privacy and trust built in as well. And then moving on to the engage side of these things, with the models trained, data harmonized, unified, one can then activate the real-time data or near real-time data, as well as data in batch mode, different velocities, right? And generative AI across the entire Customer 360. With Tableau, this data can be visualized, taking advantage of real-time analytics, visualizations, and dashboards to make smarter decisions even faster across the entire business. And then, of course, it's the act part of it, which is also connected with the experience. Like this data-driven intelligent approach leads to wow customer experiences and more efficient and productive teams supported by workflows, recommendations, driving both customer success and business success as well. Now, with this quick background on what Data Cloud offers, we move on to today's topic, which is around the Data Cloud packaging recommendations. Now, over here, as you can see, there are 5 different cards. Like when I say cards, I mean each of them, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are like those cards. So there are different cards that I have shown here, and every card means something. There is a different meaning, a different purpose to every card. Now let's start with a very simple concept here. We have a card that's called a Data Cloud platform card, followed by a marketing app, which is live today, Health Cloud app, which is not yet live, which is coming soon, and then a Tableau app, which is also live today. So these are so as you can see here, there are 4 different categories. The Data Cloud platform and cards. There is a Data Cloud standalone data platform card, and then we have Data Cloud for marketing and ads, current Data Cloud for marketing SKUs, Data Cloud for Health Cloud, and Data Cloud for Tableau. These are the different cards that we will cover today. Let's just keep it at that. I will cover each and every card in more detail and how they work with each other interchangeably. But yes, these are the 4 major cards that we will cover today. And these cards are nothing but some SKUs or some packages, the way we are packaging Data Cloud going forward. Now, moving on here. This is the Data Cloud packaging SKU mapping or SKU map. Now let's start with Data Cloud for, or let's start with Data Cloud Platform Starter Pack. Now, what is the Platform Starter Pack? You can see here one thing like Data Cloud for Platform, Data Cloud for Marketing, Data Cloud for Health, and Data Cloud for Tableau, right? So out of all of this, one of the things that you will see, which is a common piece everywhere, which is the Data Cloud Platform Starter Pack, which is there in the overall platform offering. It is part of the marketing offering. It is part of the Health Cloud offering. It is also part of the Tableau offering. What does that mean? That means that today what you see in CDP or Data Cloud, when you open that application, when you open that product, right, that tool, the tabs that you see, the features that you see, the Data Cloud functionalities that you can use, right? That's all packaged as part of this Data Cloud Platform Starter Pack. Now let's first start with marketing. Let's say we have a customer who has a use case of marketing use case for Data Cloud, which is of course right now probably the more highly commonly used use case, right? Probably 60-70% of the customers are using Data Cloud primarily for marketing at this stage. Though this number is going to change very soon, we will see a lot many more customers using Data Cloud for non-marketing use cases as well. But then, starting with Data Cloud for marketing, let's take a step back on what was happening before. So till now, when a customer was purchasing Data Cloud for marketing, they were actually purchasing a soft bundle of SKUs that included Data Cloud and Marketing Cloud engagement. Like these were sold together. Like there was one single soft bundle of SKU where they would purchase Data Cloud, which is CDP, which used to be CDP, and the Marketing Cloud engagement. However, what has changed now is that we have separated them. Now marketing engagement, of course, if a customer has a marketing engagement or marketing use case primarily, they are going to buy marketing engagement, but it's not going to be bundled with Data Cloud. They are going to buy the following SKUs. First of all, they're going to buy Marketing Cloud engagement SKUs, which is basically the existing ones, like with the contacts and super messages, etc. And of course, the specific edition, like the corporate edition or enterprise edition, right? So that's a Marketing Cloud engagement SKU that they're going to buy. So that's the first thing. Then they will buy Data Cloud separately. But when they buy data cloud separately, what are the things they're going to buy, or they're going to add to marketing? They're going to add these SKUs, so these cards. The first thing they need is a data cloud platform starter pack for marketing. Now, this is the basic need. This is the basic data cloud functionality. This is the basic data cloud functionality with all the tabs and functionality that we see today in our, in our data cloud once you log into the system, right? This, however, does not have a couple of tabs visible. One is segmentation and the other one is activation. So the segmentation and activation tabs or those features are not available as part of the data cloud platform starter pack. And that's a very important point here we need to note. If you are buying data cloud before this new packaging, you are going to get everything, including segmentation and activation. But now we have separated the segmentation and activation features from this starter pack. In this starter pack, you are going to get almost everything, but the segmentation and activation, which is primarily used for marketing use cases, but then of course some non-marketing use cases as well, like a commerce use case, etc. You're not going to get those as part of the starter pack. So what will eventually happen? The customer will actually need 4 different things, right? To start with, they will need the marketing cloud app or marketing cloud engagement, followed by the data cloud platform starter pack for marketing. Then they're going to buy the data cloud segmentation and activation card. Now this is a separate card. As you can see here, the platform starter pack and the activation and segmentation card, these are 2 separate cards. You're gonna, so together with platform starter pack and activation segmentation, if a customer buys both of these together, then they're going to get the same thing that you see in data cloud today. But without this particular card, they will not have the segmentation and activation features available. That they won't be able to see this in the UI. Now, couple more things which are now also added, and this is where the consumption based metrics comes into picture. I wanted to cover one thing which I'll probably cover towards the end of this session, is why are we doing this, right? And I know that's pretty important, and we want to cover that too. The reason why we are doing this is we want to make this process a lot more accessible and fair for our customers, depending on their usage. Like if the customer is not using data cloud today, if it's a shelfware for the time being, they're just in a discovery phase and trying to figure out how they're going to use data cloud, we're not going to charge them for the consumption that they haven't done. We are going to sell them, of course, the starter pack. They're going to pay some of the basic prices. But if they're not using any storage, if they're not using any extra storage, and they're not, consuming some of the services in the platform, then they're not going to pay for it. They're only going to pay for it when they're using the platform, when they're using some of the services and APIs and their records and rows and unified profiles and storage in the platform. And that is where the remaining 2 cards come in. One is a platform services card, the other one is a data storage card. Now, what does that mean? Is that you as a customer, you are actually going to get the platform features as part of the starter pack, and of course, in addition to the segmentation and activation card, if you need segmentation and activation as well. However, this entitles you as a customer to a certain amount of consumption limit, like X number of rows, Y number of API calls, Z number of queries you can write, etc., so on and so forth. What if you need more? And more often than not, you will need more, because of course, you may have a requirement of high data storage. You may have requirement of a lot of API calls. You may have a requirement of kind of consuming a lot of rows or records for your calculated insights and whatnot, right? So for that, you have something called a services card. Services card stands for the consumption, like the consumption you are doing within the platform. And I will cover services card in more detail in later slides. And then the data storage, like the amount, which is the real data storage, how much data you are actually storing in data cloud. That's part of this particular card. Now, quickly revisiting this thing again, I'll try to make this simple. I know I am covering a lot of things, and this can be a little complicated when we're initially having this discussion. So I'll kind of try to summarize this a bit more. So as a customer, if you are buying data cloud for marketing or data cloud for a marketing use case, here are the things you're going to buy. You're obviously going to buy marketing cloud engagement separately. And then for data cloud perspective, you're going to buy data cloud platform starter pack and segmentation activation card to get the platform features. And then based on your needs, you're going to buy services card and data storage card. I mean, when I say needs, I mean how many cards you're going to need. That is what you need to decide as a customer. Like it's like a prepaid mobile plan, right? Let's say you're going to buy a consumption based prepaid mobile plan. Like you're going to buy let's say $500 dollar card, or I don't know, sorry, a $50 card, of course, a $50 card where you're going to get X number of calls, Y number of SMSs, or maybe texts, as well as and let's say some amount of internet storage, internet usability, right? So it is very similar to that. You're going to buy a card that entitles a customer to use use or consume the services that's available within data cloud, that's beyond the starter pack, that's beyond the storage that is coming with the starter pack. So that is how it is used. Very similarly, for data cloud and the rest of the concepts are pretty similar once you understand this, because let's say I'm going to the data cloud for Tableau. Now this is the other thing that's live today. We have data cloud for marketing live, we have data cloud for Tableau live. We are going to have data cloud for platform live very soon this month, later this month, or possibly start of next month, if not this month. And then that the same thing will happen for data cloud for health app as well, which is data cloud for health cloud. So regarding Tableau, again coming back to Tableau, it's the same concept where the customer is going to purchase Tableau Enterprise as a separate SKU, which is an existing one, of course. And then for a data cloud, from a data cloud perspective, they're going to buy the starter pack for data cloud for Tableau, which is basically very similar to the starter pack for marketing. I mean, underlying this queue, the functionality or the thing that the customer is going to actually get is the same thing. There is no difference. It's just a different name, because of course the customer is working with the account executive of Salesforce for a Tableau use case. So they're going to buy Tableau app, Tableau Enterprise, and then they're going to buy the SKU for the data cloud platform starter pack that is going to give them everything that's in data cloud functionality wise, apart from segmentation and activation. So in case, even for a Tableau use case, they need segmentation and activation, which may be required because maybe they want to activate the data through an S3 or GCS, right? And use it in some other systems or analytics. They need to buy this segmentation and activation card. It's not that the Tableau customer cannot buy this. Yes, they can buy this. There is of course a process involved where the customer will work with a marketing cloud account executive to buy that additional card and attach it to their overall entitlement. But rest of the things are pretty much same. Like they're going to buy the services, they're going to buy the storage. Similarly, for health cloud app as well as the platform going forward, which is basically data cloud for core, sales cloud, service cloud, this is going to be again same. They're going to buy the starter pack, they're going to buy the required amount of services card, which is the consumption, and then they're going to buy the storage, the amount of storage that they envision that they will need. I will move to the next slide, but to of course discuss more around what this services card contains, what does this mean, what is the data storage contains, and what are the different things which impact these cards and etc. But if there is any question at this stage, I will pause for a moment, because I know some of the things that we have covered here can be quite complicated to start with. So
Subjit, I have a question. So can we upgrade the storage whenever we want? Let's take an example. My storage would be 64 GB for now. In later point of time, when we'd love to, stream one of my source bundle from different system, and then suddenly it got some errors. I feel I got to know that the data storage has no capacity with my limit, and could I increase the limit while chasing my account executive?
yes, so basically, yes, you can always work with your account executive to increase your limit. But for customers, when you sell this to customers like an enterprise or corporate, when you sell this to customers, right? Right now, I mean, obviously, I cannot tell you what will be the strategy a year from now. But right now, what is happening? We are not charging the customers, or rather, we are not stopping the customers from using this. What we are doing, we are going to set up a process which will be clear very soon. And as I mentioned, at this point, it is not completely established, we are going to send some SQL alerts, some alerts to the customers, that yes, this is where you are, this is where you are over limit, etc. And accordingly, even if we don't charge the customers like today, obviously the customer will understand based on the instructions provided, when do they need to reach out to the account executive to work towards increasing their limit. So we are not, this is kind of a soft limit to the not stopping anything for customers once they move to the new pricing model. And by the way, funny one thing is very important, I think I'll cover this later as well. Existing customers who have been using data cloud on a specific existing contract, they are not impacted at this point by this particular packaging strategy. This packaging only takes effect when the customer renews. So let's say a customer purchased data cloud in 2022 and the renewal is up in, let's say, 2024 January. So they are going to be on the existing model till end of this year. Only when they move to the new model, they will have this. And as I mentioned, there will be a lot more, there will be a different process which is more streamlined, is going to be established, where the customer will be ahead, will be aware ahead of them, hitting that particular limit. Is that clear?
Yes. So one question, so in data cloud, where exactly I could see the availability of let's say I use something and where I can see where is my limits and where I need to monitor and all this stuff.
So right now, you see the you need to reach out. You don't have a visibility right now today, and that's again something that our product team is working on. You need to reach out to your account executive to find out where you are right now. As I mentioned, once you are over limit, product is going to send some automated mailers to you, like as a customer, that this is where you are, or you are close, you are kind of hitting your limit very soon. That is what you can see. But of course, if you want to know ahead that, okay, if there is something that you need to be concerned about, you need to keep in mind, yeah, you can reach out to your account executive, unless until we have the UI that's available for you to actually check yourself. And this is something we are working on, kind of bringing up a UI. Possibly, again, I cannot confirm right now, but possibly it's going to be part of the company information in the org, in the platform, where you can see some of the consumption that is done on data cloud.
Okay, I think there's a question from UV. So what he's saying is, currently he has a 5-year contract on data cloud. So what happens?
Yeah, so nothing happens. He's good to go. He's good to go on the existing contract till he's obviously up for renewal. So let's say he's up for renewal in 2027. So till 2027, or let's say 2026, you are up for renewal. Till then, there is nothing. So right now, and I think that I'm actually covering this somewhere later in this slide, deck, that what happens to existing customers. So I think very quickly taking you there, I'll come back here again. So this is the thing, right? Legacy customer disruption. And this is what exactly the question is. Customer can stay on their existing pricing model until the end of their contract. Is that clear?
Yeah, thank you, Sujit. I think you probably is clear, right? And you're a lucky person, Yuvi, because your contract is 5 years, so you don't need to struggle all these calls and everything. All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Actually, honestly speaking, we have seen customers who are, with varying amount of consumption of data cloud, right? Some of them are heavily using data cloud, lots of rows, records, processing, APIs, and whatnot. So we are obviously working with these customers kind of to ensure that they are on the right pricing model during the renewal stage. And then the other thing is that if the customer is not a very heavy user of data cloud, they're not using so much of storage, they're actually not going to pay for that storage or that kind of usage of data cloud going forward. So that's how we are kind of trying to ensure that is a very fair pricing, which is consumption based for data cloud for customers going forward. Of course, existing customers stay on the current contract, only this takes effect after the renewal. Yeah. Cool. Now moving on to the the next slide, which is basically more details on the cards or that I was just talking about earlier. Um, so this is the Data Cloud Platform Starter Pack, right? And obviously the dollar amount is something that we cannot talk about here. That is something you can, as a customer, you can work with your account executive and they can obviously share more details around that. But this Data Cloud Platform Starter, it includes 10 million in platform services credits. What does that mean? It means that this is a platform services card. It's kind of it kind of includes 10 million worth of platform services. And again, what does that mean? What does platform services mean? I'll cover that later in 1 or 2 slides later. But then till that, this includes some of the, I mean, of course, this comes with a base version of consumption, like 5 terabyte of storage, 1 data cloud instance, 1 data cloud platform service admin, 100 data cloud user, internal data cloud users, and then 5 integration users as well. So these are some of the things which are available as part of the starter pack for everything, for starter pack for marketing, starter pack for Tableau, starter pack for platform, as well as health cloud going forward. Then the additional capacity comes into picture where customers can buy more storage and X amount of dollars per terabyte. So obviously, if a customer requires, let's say, 10 terabytes of storage, they're going to pay a certain amount, which is going to be charged based on per terabyte. And then similarly, there is a platform services card. As I mentioned, platform services card, we will explain a little more on how does the consumption on each and every functionality or each and every feature of Data Cloud translates into a platform services card credit. Moving on. Now, this is where you can see the platform services card, some of the details around that. So as you can see, the batch data pipeline, or this is basically nothing but data ingestion and data transform, like number of records, number of rows that is being ingested and transformed. So there's a metric around per 1 million rows processed. Let's say, I'm just giving you a random number. Let's say you're going to use up 100 credits for per 1 million rows processed. That means if you have 100,000 credit as part of the platform services card, and let's say you have got one platform services card with 100,000 credit, or maybe you got 5 platform services card with 500,000 credit, you're going to use those 100 credits out of those 500,000 if you are processing 1 million rows. Similarly, so thus you have batch profile unification, how many profiles you are unifying, right? How many records you are processing during profile unification, how many records you are processing in your queries for calculated insights, your data queries as well. Accelerated queries, this is a new feature that's available in Tableau, like the Data Cloud for Tableau, accelerated queries. And then streaming data pipeline, that is obviously similar to batch data pipeline. It was the batch one, and this is more of a streaming, streaming data ingestion, or this is for streaming insights, how many records you're ingesting and transforming as part of that. And then of course, streaming insights themselves, those SQLs that you're using for calculating streaming insights. And then of course, the profile APIs, like, real-time profile APIs or any other APIs that's there, how many APIs you are using. And then finally, the data actions, the streaming data actions. So for every such eligible services that is there as part of the platform services card, there is a metric that's available. And based on that metric, there is a rate card or multiplier that's applied to every metric. And the customers can fungibly apply those credits across any combination of these platform services. Like as I mentioned a few minutes ago, right? It's kind of a prepaid phone bill. Like if you are going to use, let's say you are given 3 different features, and you are given, let's say, a particular amount of credit. You can use any features fungibly across any combination, any permutation, any combination within these services to use up that credit. Like as long as you are within this 100,000 credit, or you have 500,000 within the 500,000 credit, if you have 5 cards, then you are good to go. As long as you are touching that limit or hitting that limit, then you need to think about planning for buying more services card to support your usage of Data Cloud. Moving on. Now, this is the Data Cloud for marketing. I know I discussed this at length a few minutes ago, but I just wanted to show the cards separately here. And how does that work? with each other. So first of all, for Data Cloud for Marketing, you as a customer, you're going to buy the Marketing Cloud engagement, which is the corporate edition or enterprise plus edition, right? Or any other edition that you're going to buy. And obviously this comes with super messages, contacts, and other things. Now, this is obviously an existing SKU that all of us are aware of. No change here. Nothing changes. What changes here is Data Cloud SKUs. This is where, as a customer, you're going to buy the Data Cloud Platform Starter Pack and applicable data storage, additional data storage if you need that, applicable platform services credits if you need that, more credits, like more because of more consumption, and the segmentation and activation credits. This is the segmentation and activation card that will be added to ensure you have access to segmentation and activation features that is required for your marketing use cases. There is one more card I actually skipped during the first slide. I'll talk about it here because I didn't want to make it more complicated during that first slide. So there's one more card that's available for advertising audience or ad audiences. There is something that was very recently that has gone live, is the Marketing Cloud ad audiences, right? I mean, like Data Cloud ad audiences for marketing. So now the customers can actually activate directly into a Facebook Business Manager or a Google, from Data Cloud. So those activations can now be done without going through Marketing Cloud Advertising Studio or anything else, or S3 or anything else, right? From Data Cloud directly, the customers can now activate audiences into those Meta as well as Google. So with Meta and Google activations, if that feature is needed, customer needs to buy the advertising audiences card so that they have those features available to be used. So as a marketing user for Data Cloud, if you do not have a need to activate data into, activate audiences into ad channels like, Meta and Google, and going forward, more such systems will be added. If you don't have a need for that at this point, or maybe you want to go with an existing strategy of probably, exporting that data into an S3 or go through Marketing Cloud Advertising Studio, you don't need to buy this card. So there is no need for you as a customer to purchase and pay for this particular thing unless you really need it. So that's how we are kind of segregating these things based on customer needs. If the customer needs this particular feature, they will buy this particular card. Otherwise, no. Moving on, so this is where we are talking about Data Cloud segments and activation card. I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward based on what we have just discussed. Very similar to Data Cloud, the services card. This is where also you will have X number of credits that's available as part of the segmentation and activation, and based on per 1 million rows processed in segmentation and per million rows processed in batch activation, certain credits will be applied through the red card multiplier, and thus the segmentation and activation card will be used. Again, customer can fungibly use or apply those credits across any combination for both of these services together. This is something obviously I touched up on a little bit a few minutes ago, because there was a question around what happens for existing customers. So for customers, for customers who are actually using current CDP SKUs while allowing these add-ons, I mean, these add-ons are actually allowed. Like, it ensures all customers customers, if they want to, they can migrate to this new model very quickly. There is basically no new customers can purchase the current. When I say current, it's basically the the existing CDP SKUs. Those are available before this move. So all the new customers will have to, or will need to purchase the new pricing and packaging contract that is available now, and of course, the customers can stay on the legacy model until their next renewal. If a customer is using an existing pricing model, which is the older pricing model, they can continue use it until the end of their contract. Then moving on to the Data Cloud for Tableau packaging. And again, there is not much different here from what we have seen for Data Cloud for Marketing. Here, again, for Data Cloud for Platform Starter for Tableau, they're going to buy the starter pack for Tableau, which is obviously going to give the customers a certain amount of base usage when it comes to consumption and storage. And on top of that, based on their use case, they can estimate, okay, this is probably, I mean, they can work with the solution engineer and the the SE, Salesforce SE, and as well as the account executive to determine that what kind of storage they might need in future, and based on that they can actually add platform services card as well as data storage card to their overall Tableau package, and they can actually ensure that they are probably set up for success for their initial implementations. And then very similarly, as I mentioned earlier, customers in this case also can fungibly apply the credits across any combination for this, eligible services for the platform services card, which includes the batch data pipeline, streaming data pipeline, calculated insights, profile, and other APIs, the streaming actions, queries, and calculated insights as well. Now, this is a slightly deeper dive into each and every platform services that is defined, like how each and every platform service, or basically what is that feature that you are getting as part of each platform services. I will not spend too much time on this because obviously these are more of a CDP feature, like which probably most of you are aware of. If not, definitely go through some of these. I will share this, or rather Funny will share this after once this session is over, and then you can go through each and every description of what those features mean, like what is a data query, what do we mean by an accelerated query, etc. As I mentioned, accelerated query is a newer feature at release 242, which was the February release. This service was only available for Tableau with broader availability in subsequent releases. So yes, these are some features, some new features and existing features which are made available through the platform services card for customers. And there is a metric that's applied to each and every feature. And that's basically a metric for consumption, for measuring the consumption and accordingly charging the customer based on their consumption and usage of Data Cloud. Now I'll cover an example of a multi-cloud customer buyer journey, how they buy different SKUs. Meanwhile, if there is any question, so what about existing clients for the ad audiences? So when you're talking about ad audiences, right? If you are an existing customer and if you have, and when you say ad audiences, if you're talking about the existing Marketing Cloud Advertising Studio, that is not going to be impacted. Nothing is going to be impacted. Any new feature that is going to be made available to you, as part of releases, because you're an existing customer, you are not impacted. You can buy those features. You're working with your account executives and add those features to your Data Cloud instance by working with your account executives. However, when it comes to the new pricing mechanism or packaging mechanism, obviously the process changes a bit. But then while you are on an existing contract, you don't need to worry about your existing features. If you want to buy a new feature, let's say you want to add an advertising audience to your Data Cloud. Yes, in that case you have to buy that extra card, which is the advertising advertising audience card, and you can work with your account executive to buy that extra card. And obviously for that small piece of advertising studio only, you are going to be on the new pricing and packaging model. Like you're going to go to the account executive will work with you, attach that advertising studio card to your existing SKUs, and it will work seamlessly. That is not going to be a problem. Anything else? Any other question that we have before I move forward with the buyer journey? I know it can be slightly complicated to start with, but I'm trying to ensure it is easy to consume for our community. So let me know, Funny or anyone on the call, if this is something you are able to follow.
Yeah, I think definitely I'm going to share this as well. So
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
Right, so now of quickly going through a multi-cloud customer buying or buyer journey. So it's let's take a couple of scenarios, right? To start with, we have a Data Cloud for marketing first customer, right? A customer who has a marketing use case for Data Cloud. This is something I obviously started with, right? I was talking about when I initially was talking about the marketing SKUs. Now, let's say in this case, a CMO wants to use Salesforce as its primary marketing and engagement vendor, and the SKUs purchased would be Data Cloud plus Engagement Edition, as well as additional marketing targets if needed, like an Ad Studio card. And then the second, so that's going to be the first purchase, right? Like the Data Cloud plus Engagement Edition, and then at a later point, I mean, it was initially it was kind of straightforward, right? They're going to buy a Data Cloud and engagement, that marketing cloud for data or other marketing for Data Cloud pack that I just mentioned. But the what if at a later stage there's an analytics team internally or analytics buyers within the customer team who are looking to enrich their customer analysis or insights through customer profiles and segments. Then what will happen? Uh, they can actually work with the Salesforce account executives to make a second purchase, which is nothing but Data Cloud for Tableau platform services cards. They're not going to buy the Data Cloud for Tableau again. They are going to use the existing cards, or rather existing Data Cloud that's already there as part of Marketing Cloud. All they're going to buy, if there is a need because of the Tableau requirement, if there is a need of additional services like additional consumption, maybe extra rows to be processed or extra number of queries to be created, or maybe extra number of APIs to be invoked, based on that they can buy additional services cards based on the consumption need. That's it, nothing else is needed. They can move on with what they have, like Marketing Cloud engagement, Data Cloud, additional cards they already purchased, and on top of that, additional Data Cloud services cards they will need to support their Tableau use case. They don't have to buy anything new. So we are not charging the customers twice in this particular case, and that's exactly what that was exactly what we had as a goal when we are trying to introduce this sort of a packaging. Like if a customer has obviously two types of buyers in the customer team, one is a marketing team and there's a non-marketing team. We are not going to charge the customer twice. We're not going to attach two similar SKUs for two similar needs, or maybe two separate needs which requires the same infrastructure and same services. All we are going to attach in this case is a platform consumption card, that too if they actually need it, if they need more consumption to support their Tableau or non-marketing use cases. Very similarly, it happens the same way for a customer who starts with a non-marketing use case. Like in this case, let's say an analytics buyer, which is the second use case. An analytics buyer buys Data Cloud to create a unified customer data platform. Now they can obviously they want to start with building a kind of a unified profile and create calculated insights, and then of course build Tableau dashboards out of it, right? So all that they're going to buy initially are basically Data Cloud for Tableau starter pack and Data Cloud for Tableau platform services cards, and any additional storage that they might need, right? So storage, services cards, and starter pack for Tableau, done. Now at a later point, let's say they have a marketing use case where now the CMO wants to leverage the customer profile database and the insights to better engage its customers. Now what they will need, they actually don't have to buy anything on the marketing SKU. All they need to buy is basically additional consumption and additional storage if they need that. And for marketing use case, they need to buy the segmentation and activation card, because that is something they will need to activate this data back into into the Marketing Cloud engagement system. So that is how this is actually going to pan out for customers. Obviously, we are talking about analytics and marketing use cases here only. However, very soon we will have the platform services for Data Cloud, which is the Data Cloud for platform that caters to Sales Cloud and Service Cloud, our core platform, and also the Health Cloud for Data Cloud, which will also cater to the Health Cloud for Data Cloud scenarios or use cases. One last thing, some new features that's actually coming as part of this new packaging, and I just wanted to touch upon some of these things. I know data spaces is something that's quite popular, and I think a lot of us are aware of it, but yeah, 4 different things we wanted to talk about. One is it's bring your own model, which is a SageMaker inference. So as a customer, a customer can build a custom model in AWS SageMaker and imports that model to Salesforce, where we can run that model to generate different predictions. Now that's obviously one of the major and exciting releases that's coming very soon. The next one is around data sharing. Obviously, with what's going to happen on third-party data, and the sunset on that, it will allow customers to use partner platforms to get access to first-party data in all Salesforce clouds, and that will obviously allow customers to use much better set of first-party data, or larger data volume without physically moving those data. From cloud to cloud, they are actually going to use a zero copy architecture, very similar to what we are seeing with Snowflake, to actually access that data and use for their modeling and other purposes. And of course, this data is only going to be available if the customer who is owning that first party data is allowing the share. So of course, the compliance and privacy and all of those protocols will be in motion. And then change data, and then of course data space is something I think we are all mostly aware of. That is where we are going to allow different business unit users to separate out their needs and needs by in terms of brands or geographies, different geos, where they can actually separate out the data in different data spaces, and that will allow them also to kind of combine data in specific data spaces, to actually separate out the data when it comes to access protocols, as well as if they want to kind of house the data in specific brands and geos, and ensure that there is enough data security and data privacy in place as well. And then finally, the data capture, that's another important feature that is there, that's coming, which is basically going to allow customers to get notified when data changes in CDP, in data cloud, so that other actions can take place in just in time. This actually will help customers a lot by lowering cost for analytics and AI calculations, because there could be some incremental processing that is involved while data changes within data cloud. And based on these signals, these notifications, those systems can incrementally work only when there is a change that's happening on the overall data. So these are some of the major things which are available today. One of the thing I just wanted to cover, which was not initially part of my conversation or my presentation, was that this part, like why are we, or why do we bring this new pricing and packaging? How does it help customers, right? The first thing is that this keeps the pricing, this new packaging, this keeps the pricing and packaging consumption based for both existing and new customers, right? Which means customers who are actually using data cloud today, if they are heavy users of data cloud, they are being fairly charged for the usage that they're having within the cloud. And also our account executives and Salesforce teams are working with those customers to ensure they get the best pricing on the amount of usage they are having today. Versus there could be customers who are only getting started on data cloud, new customers who value data cloud, but they probably not even use it for any active use cases, or they're not used it for any activations and segmentations, right? So for them, this is something where we can work with the customers, and then we can fairly charge the customers based on their current usage. We are making it easy for customers to buy as well in future, like reduce the number of metrics or SKUs customers have to purchase to a manageable amount. Because as you can see, if you are a customer who is buying data cloud for marketing, and then you have a data cloud for non-marketing use case, for let's say health cloud or a platform use case, you don't have to buy any SKU. All you need to buy, it could be a different team within the customer team, but then ultimately with Salesforce, all you need to buy is basically additional consumption card if you need more consumption, or more resources from data cloud to be used for your use case. And then of course, do not double charge the customers for very similar functionalities. We have already covered that a bit earlier. And we are only going to charge for features independently if they have different buyers or third-party cost, right? Let's say within customers, there could be a marketing, like a CMO, and there could be other teams as well who are taking care of separate features and separate verticals within the customer side, right? So they can very easily charge, we can charge the customers for features independently in this case, right? You have a marketing use case, you can buy those features for marketing. If you have a non-marketing use case, additional consumption, but a lot of consumption needed because you're going to do a lot of API calls, right? So in that case, the other team within the customer side can actually pay for that consumption that is required for the non-marketing use cases. So that's there. And then this obviously aligns with the long-term product strategy as well, where we are trying to make this process more consumption-based model as well. And then, of course, this kind of covers the cost to serve, because from our side as well in Salesforce, we want to offer the product at a sustainable net price for us, and also ensuring that we have a certain amount of discounting floors, charging for heavy users, and also charging very fairly for customers for their usage, as well as price, and providing timely updates to customers around the pricing limits or anything that's happening on the data cloud usage for on the platform. So that's pretty much what I wanted to cover today. And I will stop sharing. I will probably give the team pro another 8 to 10 minutes to ask any additional question that they have on this. And yeah, thanks for listening, and thanks Funny, and thanks the rest of the team for coming here and spending time with us.
Thank you, Subhajit, for the wonderful session again. I think there's a question from UV. Is there any delivery schedule for the data platform services? So when the data platform services will be generally available?
So when you say data platform services, you mean the platform services card I was talking about, right? Or
yeah, I mean the platform events actually.
Yeah. So when you say delivery schedule, what do you exactly mean? So it's already live. It's already there. It's the customers who have already renewed, or customers who are new purchasers. They are already buying the data platform services card.
And how does that impact the interaction with the core services like Service Cloud and Sales Cloud? Does that have an impact on that? And does that mean that we can have streams coming from those sources that could be from other aspects than just engagement and profiles, for example?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So let's say your data clouds, I mean, it doesn't impact directly Sales and Service Cloud side of things on the consumption side, but what happens is, if your data cloud is connected to CRM, let's say, and you are bringing in data from CRM side of things, and let's say, and that is where actually it's important for, and these are kind of best practices for customers to follow as well. Like, I think I covered some of it yesterday, and some of these things we also talk to customers whenever we kind of plan on data that we want to bring into data cloud, right? If you see that you don't need to bring in data, let's say 5 years old transaction or something like that into data cloud, because you don't actually need it for your segmentation purpose or any other purpose within data cloud, just don't bring it, because you don't need that data, right, within data cloud. So if you are bringing in data from services or sales or those system into data cloud, and those are basically records, those are basically rows that is going to contribute towards the overall consumption. So at the end of the day, once you are in this new pricing model, and you are any data that you're bringing in from core CRM into data cloud, like ingesting into data cloud through the connector, you are going to be charged for those records and rows.
Yeah, that's the pricing model that is applied right at the moment, because we basically set out a sort of annual average of the consumption. Yep. And recently I was making some tests, and we immediately got an invoice for the exceeding amount of records that were ingested.
Yep.
And do you have a let's say a best practice to suggest in order to minimize the cost of that in the current pricing model?
So in the current, when you say current pricing model, you are talking about the existing one, the like before renewal, the one you are on right now, right?
Yeah, the one that we're on is
yeah.
basically based on the number of unified profiles that we have.
Yes. So yeah, with the unified profiles, basically the process is slightly different. The process was slightly different, where obviously you can bring in data, but ultimately if that data is not mapped to your data, I mean, if that data is mapped to your data model, DMOs, and it is part of your unification process, like identity resolution and profile unification, then yes, then you're going to be charged for that. But if it is not, you are just bringing in the data, you are probably, let's say you have brought in some sort of data, it's part of a data stream, but you have not mapped that data stream to your DMOs, which means it is not part of your unification, profile unification. You are not going to be charged for that.
Okay.
However, with the new pricing model, you are going to be charged for that, even though, because in the consumption card, as you saw, there are separate metrics. One is there for unification, but there is one for data streams as well. So yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
I think that the thing is, Subjit, like, if you can get a UI similar like Einstein and CRM Analytics or any other such, checking out the capacity limits and everything, so how much is left and everything. So that would be really good. So that everyone should aware, and then they'll take a look about and they'll start to clean up some sort of things.
Yeah, no, absolutely funny. I mean, this is a feedback that is already given to product, and this is something that's in the roadmap. I cannot comment on exact time on the roadmap when this is going to be available, but this is rest assured that this is something we are definitely working on. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Subhajit. Subhajit, I have one question. So when does data share data spaces will be available?
Yes, I also wanted to ask the same thing, and one more addition to the data space thing actually.
Yes, Rajat.
Yeah. Okay. So in data spaces, we have mentioned, Subhajit, that it would combine data of different BUs. So by that, do you mean we will be able to, as of now, we are ingesting the data of different BUs to different streams, Subhajit? So by that, do you mean from different BUs will we be able to unify the data and use that to all different BUs? I mean, after activation.
So that's a separate feature which is called a BU aware.
Okay.
Are you aware of that feature? So there is something called a business unit aware or BU aware feature.
Okay.
That you can actually use. You can look it up in the help and training resources. So you can use the BU aware feature that's already live. That's already GA for this. However, with data spaces, you can also achieve some of that. Like you can actually have more control over it. Like you can bring in the data. Let's say you don't want with BU aware, what happens? Let's say from Marketing Cloud Business Unit 1, you want to ensure that you are bringing in that data into CDP. And in Data Cloud, actually, that data is mixed. But when the activation happens, BU aware ensures that you are activating into the right business unit, not the other business unit where you don't want. Yes, that is what BU aware does.
Okay.
However, with data spaces, you have an additional feature where you can also house that data based on your needs within Data Cloud as well. Within Data Cloud, you can, let's say you have 5 business units in Marketing Cloud, and let's say in Data Cloud, you don't want 5 separations. Let's say you want to build 3 separations. Maybe you want all the Nordics countries in one business unit, like in one org, let's say, within Data Cloud. So you can just create one data space where you can bring in all 2 or 3 Nordics countries data in one data space, and you can house the data there. So that sort of thing you can do, which gives you more flexibility on the data spaces side. But with business unit aware, that is specifically built for such use case where you want to activate your data to the specific view where it was sourced from.
Okay. But if by chance I want to source it to other BU, so that would happen via data spaces, you mean, right?
Yeah, I mean, so activation part, so data spaces is basically to manage the data within Data Cloud.
Right.
So if you're activating from a specific data space, and in that case you will obviously, so think of every data space as a separate Data Cloud instance sort of thing, right? You are adding an activation target there. You can ensure that for a particular data space you have an activation target with a specific view, right? Which means from one data space you can only activate to that particular business unit within this particular Marketing Cloud instance.
Right.
So that feature will be available. Business unit aware, the other feature I mentioned, is slightly more restrictive. That is basically obviously that feature was only built for ensuring that you are activating data back into the business unit where the data was sourced from. That's what you get there. The limitation that you have there. Yeah, and the other thing, what was the other question, Rajat? Sorry, the first question that you had.
No, I had only this actually.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks.
I think my question was,
I have a comment.
Yes, go ahead, Yuvi. Please go ahead.
Thank you. The data space feature for companies that are involved in many different countries might be a savior for consent management features, because the legislations are very different from one territory to another. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. That's actually one of the top voice of customers. That was the reason behind we put in so much effort behind getting the data spaces out, because beyond brand separation, beyond business unit separation, that is one thing. Like the geo separation and the specific legislations is why the need for separation of data was more important. So yes.
Thanks, Subhajit. Subhajit, when are these going to be live, generally available for public?
Which ones?
Data share, data space.
Oh, these ones. So data space is right now still in pilot. So there are customers who are using data spaces today. So it is part of a pilot today. So what happens in Salesforce that we have a feature in pilot, and if if it works fine in pilot, based on the feedbacks, we make improvements to processes and some of the features, etc. And then it moves from pilot to beta. And then in beta, it is kind of a almost production ready, but exactly not a GA feature. From beta, it moves to GA, which is generally available. So right now, data spaces is in a pilot stage. The remaining features I was talking about, these are also very soon coming up for pilot, like in the subsequent releases. I obviously cannot comment about the exact release at this point. But yes, these are, data spaces is going to be sooner. I think definitely later this year, if everything goes all right, data space should be GA. The remaining features are going to be in pilot before end of year. Exactly time for the GA is we cannot comment on unless we have the pilot conducted and we have the feedback from the customers. So,
thanks.
Is it too late to apply for the pilot on the data space at the very least?
Maybe you can actually work with your account executive to see. I think there are possibilities. I know that I recently worked with one customers, like it was 3-4 weeks ago, where I got them included in the pilot phase. But I know that for for data spaces, the initial pilot was very recently closed. But there could be opportunities for including customers, because we always welcome customers who contribute to the pilot phase. Obviously, this comes with a caveat that as a customer, you are open to providing feedback and understand that there could be certain limitations at this point with that feature, because certain restrictions will be in place. So yeah, absolutely. Work with your account executive. There is probably a possibility to have you included as well. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Subhajit. I think from my side, there's no questions from audience. Any other questions you have? Thanks for all the questions, UV and Lakshmi, Rajat. We'll open this, and any questions you could just ping me on LinkedIn so that I'll reach out to Subhajit or someone to get the things done.
Sure.
You're funny.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, team, and thank you, Funny, for setting it up. I think it was this is actually one of the features that we are one of the discussions or topic I would say we haven't done a lot because this is quite new. So happy to share this with the community, with the ecosystem. So thank you for this.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Subhajit, for providing the last 2 days were really amazing content, and we learn a lot. So thank you again for your participation. Thanks a lot.
Sure. No problem. Thank you so much.